UFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. The return of the Entertainers is a walking football match that takes place at Gateshead Leisure Centre on Saturday the 6th of June 2026 in aid of Age UK North Tyneside. Sponsored by Shout Digital and Darren Baldwin Funerals. Tickets available from our website or from Voucher. There's also an opportunity for you to play in the game, either with or against the legends. Go to our website nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for more details. 29th of January 2027 sees an evening with Beardsley, Cole and Ferdinand at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, hosted by John Gibson. Tickets are on sale now from the box office 0191 243 1171 or tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk or directly from us at our website. Northern Horizon is a Blake 7 convention in aid of Age UK North Tyneside. Tickets available from our website. And Rebel Base Northeast, a Star Wars fan convention, Sunday the 2nd of August at the Copthorne Hotel. Tickets available on our website. The Craze, Fred Dinage, Ronnie, Reggie and Me takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, box office 0191 243 1171 or tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. That takes place Wednesday the 11th of November at 7:30. We've also got some books available on our website. Will Scott's popular Entertainers book, 92 to 97, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, is available now. And The Promoter and the Photographer, 25 years of bringing the stars to Tyneside, all proceeds going to Age UK. All books available, nufcmatters.co.uk.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, the only thing that makes us all believe.
Good evening, welcome along to the Three Amigos on NUFC Matters, the perfect way to kickstart your Newcastle United weekend. Mitch is on his way. We've got George, we've got Stu, and we've got Steve, who was going to get a parking space, hopefully, before we get to him, who was at the end of the chat list there. But welcome everybody, and of course we've got a big game in the FA Cup this weekend. Nice to get an email from a female viewer. We tend to be overloaded with male viewers emailing us, which is great. But thank you to Angie. Now, I'm not sure how you pronounce your surname. I think it's Matuus. I'll give a guess at that. Matues. But thank you for your emails. Hi, Steve. You are present in my living room every day. We live in Appleby, but my hubby Phil is a Geordie through and through. And he says, listening to you guys is like being down the pub chatting with mates about the team. I am also a Newcastle supporter, but my story is very different. My dad, God rest his soul, was a massive Sunderland supporter. I lived in a quiet village in the Eden Valley, and there was absolutely nothing to do. Us teenagers used to sit in the bus shelter, and one evening, me and a lad the same age had a bit of a bet who could piss our parents off the most. It was Mike who decided to go first. The rules were nothing illegal. However, he took his dad's car for a bit of a joyride and he bumped it. So then it was my turn. One day, me and some girlfriends went to Carlisle on the train, and as I was walking past a charity shop, there was a Newcastle shirt hung in the window. I went in and bought the shirt. On returning home, I called for Mike to come and walk in the house with me in my newly purchased shirt. Dad looked at me and said, "I'd rather you'd nick me bloody car." Needless to say, I won that bet. My love for Newcastle grew from there, and in the King Kev era, tickets would come on general sale on a Thursday, but by the time I got through on the phone, tickets were gone. So from then on, I'd jump in the car at 6 a.m. and stand in a massive queue at the ticket office for hours to get my 2 tickets, because you could only get 2 tickets per person at the time. Phil and I have only been together 5 years, but you and the lads have been there too, lol. First time he came to my house, he said, "I can't believe you've got 2 black cats as pets." I said, "I can hardly have magpies hopping around the house." I was actually just going to ask why I can't comment on your posts on Facebook, and I told you all that. Phil needs you guys to keep him sane. He means the world to me, and even when we lose, and he's in a mood for what seems like forever. And fantastic, great stuff. Thank you very much for dropping us that email, Angie. And Phil, you've got a good one there, so keep a hold of that. And thank you very much. It's always nice to get emails. Hopefully, Angela, you'll get along with Phil to the end of season 2, which I'll plug a little bit later with Kevin Carr on the 22nd.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to get an email like that, George, isn't it?
Well, it makes it all worthwhile, isn't it? It's just like when I stand at the food bank and people just want to come and say hello. That it makes it all worthwhile. Anything like that where people are keen to appreciate. That's all we ask. It's wonderful. Just like mine, as far as I'm concerned. I know you lads will get sick of hearing me saying I'm just a fan, and I think that's what's important.
And yes, Stu, it is nice to get kind of feedback. I mean, we get quite a bit in the comments anyway, and you take a time out to usually reply to them, mate. So nice, isn't it, to get sometimes just an email like that, which, as George says, makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely, it makes it worthwhile. And thank you, Angie, for sending that, because you'll know more living over there. You'll get people meeting you in person and saying it, rather than, as you said, I'll just see it in the comments now and again, but you was getting face to face. So people are very quick to criticise and not too quick to praise. So when it's the other way around, it's nice to hear. And thank you for taking the time to do so.
George, a few people concerned because you went on the missing list. Just put people's minds at rest. You're on the mend, George.
Yes, I'm sitting here in my dressing gown, but the only problem I've got at the moment is that every joint I move is painful, and the nurse reckons me back. I'm so bruised. I look like a zebra. I've got that many bruises on my back. But apart from that, as you can hear, I'm still here, still going on, and happy to be with you all.
Yeah, good stuff. Excellent. And Steve's still getting ready to park up, so we'll come. Are you there, Steve? Are you back?
I am here, yeah. I was just getting a bit worried when you started talking about days in bus stops, and it was just bringing back some memories, and I thought, oh no, it's not going that way, is it? But very nice story from Ange. That's really good, isn't it? I love to hear that sort of the family connections, whether it's red and white v black and white, or 2 black and whites, or whatever. And then obviously that with a partner and that. Meeting somebody and he's black and white through and through as well. So all good stuff, and very nice words of praise. So I can only thank her very much.
Yeah, thank you, Angie. Great stuff. And lots of people are concerned about Mitch and, of course, Stu. Stu has been keeping us up to date. Mark Byers, obviously our friend from Gateshead who lives in the US, said, "Nice to see you, Stu. I was getting worried after hearing the voice notes you sent us this morning. I'd be bricking it, but as usual, Stu's taking it all in his stride with calmness and composure. Top bloke." But you're still in the thick of it, and no sign of getting out, but still plenty of time before the derby, Stu, so all's not lost yet.
Well, you have to have something to focus on and keep you sane, I suppose. And the derby's my fixation at the moment, and getting back come hell or high water. Maybe I'll have to like hire a canoe or something and get paddling. But it's my every intention to get there. It's some of the stuff I share with people. I don't share everything because I know they worry anyway, and they'll end up worrying too much. If they understand what it's like. But when obviously I've got family and friends in the UK, and they're keeping up to date with the news. But the news is very much like some podcasts are. It's viewer centric, isn't it? It's about how many people watch it, and that's what makes it popular. So Bahrain doesn't get that much of a mention. Not many people. Everyone's heard of Dubai. Everyone's heard of like Abu Dhabi and stuff like that. But Bahrain, I'll give you a little bit of facts. It's a tactical and strategic post for the US and for Saudi Arabia. The biggest navy fleet America have got outside of US shores is in Bahrain, which makes it an obvious target. So the way I look at it is trying to explain a bit different. And when people see the figures about how many bombs or missiles or drones have been sent to certain places, and this isn't trying to belittle anywhere else. I'm just trying to make people aware of what's happening here in Bahrain. Bahrain is a small island. It's only linked to the mainland is a 26-kilometre causeway, so about 18 miles, I suppose. Longest bridge in the world that attaches it to Saudi Arabia. I've got a very good friend who's working at Aramco, which is just across the border, and that's where like a lot of the world's oil gets produced from. A couple of days ago, they got hit twice. And I was speaking with him a lot, and I just said, well, welcome to my world, But going back to if you switch on any news, which I'm sure people are doing, watching, you'll see a lot of it is about Dubai, whether it's good publicity or bad publicity. But the Dubai's emirate, or like call it a city, there's 7 of them within the United Arab Emirates. And the United Arab Emirates in size is, and I had to do this in a Google search to be specific, it's 106 times bigger than what Bahrain is. So it's about this. Bahrain's about the same size as New York City, I suppose, if you're looking at geographical sizes. But in the last 6 days, we've had over 240 attacks here. So if you break that down, that's nearly 2 an hour. Where you've got sirens going off or explosions in the air. Now, it's not every half hour. It's not like that. You could go 5 or 6 hours with nothing, and then you get 7 or 8 and bang, 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 bang. But thankfully, unfortunately, where I'm living is not near one of the main strategic sites. Probably the closest one to me is maybe 5 or 6 miles away, which doesn't sound far, but when explosions do go off, I think over 90% of them have been intercepted. And I've got to say the defense systems here in the Gulf, not just in Bahrain, but Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, they've been exceptional. The protection they've give to the people here has been first class. So the information that they share and to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on and to make sure there's no fake news getting spread or misinformation. They really do keep you up to date. And what I've noticed is because the strength of social media, you see certain things that are happening, and then other people who aren't in the region will run with it and make it worse than what it sounds, and it's not. As I said, I'm grateful for currently where I'm living. I'm grateful I can do shows like this. I've still got electricity. I've still got Wi-Fi. I've still got running water. So it was only this afternoon. It was huge. Like there was 5 or 6 explosions pretty close to us in the sky and stuff like that. But I didn't feel like I was under a direct threat. So I'm not good with it. But at the same time, there's a lot of people far worse off suffering in this conflict than what I am, and my thoughts go out to them. The most annoying thing for me, well, the 2 most annoying things is the lack of sleep. That they don't say, well, okay, we'll stop. We'll have a ceasefire for the next 6 or 7 hours so you can get your head down. It's old army tactics, isn't it? It's all warfare. So like through the night, there'll be like a sortie of missiles or drones, and then that will stop. The sirens go off. That then stops, but the adrenaline's pumping, isn't it? And then you just start getting a kick again, and it goes off again. But so sometimes during the day, when especially there's a 3-hour time difference currently from Bahrain to the UK, people are then waking up and out of genuine concern they're getting caught with this. I'm trying to get some sleep at some stage, So I mean that's one of the things. Another thing at the moment, and I'm really grateful to say this, it's just the boredom. I can't go out walking as I like to do. You have to be safe, and it feels very, very restrictive. But as I keep saying to anyone who contacts us, whether it's family or friends, I'm a lot more fortunate than others, and hopefully it comes to an end pretty soon. But how I get back for the Matten game is going to be a lot more difficult than it normally would be. It would just be a quick hop over to Dubai, then a flight to Newcastle. For me to get back, I would have to run the risk of going across that causeway, which is a high risk target. Then I have to get into Saudi. Then I've got to get someone to either collect us or drive us 4 and a bit hours to Riyadh. Then get a flight to Paris or Amsterdam with a 7-hour wait over. So it'll take us the best part of 2 days to get home, but it'll be worth it. And I don't feel like I need to get out. And I appreciate there'll be like families and mothers and children that need to go before me. So I'm happy. Well, not happy, but I'm comfortable waiting where I am as it is currently. So I think the amount of missiles that we've had, or drones, or explosions, it is, and I used the word when we did the professionals on Sunday. It's surreal. I know Mitch has just joined us now, and I share a lot of the things with him, but we try not to panic people too far away. It's hard to explain. It is hard to explain, but you do become accustomed to it. And I've always had this motto: is control the controllables. And if you can't, then you can't worry about it. And what's meant to be, it's tattooed on my arm. Everything happens for a reason. And and I know I've used the word surreal before, but I don't think we'll understand what this is like. A bit like COVID, I suppose. When it happened, it changed everyone's outlook, and it changed everyone's perception of what you take for granted. But I suppose it's not until this finishes that we start looking back on it, and I'm sure we'll have a few laughs about it. But a lot of people have asked, am I scared? And I'm not, because of the protection that we've been getting. And of course, there's a number of missiles that will get through, but the vast majority don't. And I'm fully aware things can get worse a lot quicker, but thankfully at the moment they're not. So as it is, I'm okay with it. And I really appreciate all the messages that I get. I don't have time to get bored, to be honest. I get too many messages from those who are near and dear, or even further away and still dear to us. So that's how it is, and it really frustrates us when I switch the TV on and I start watching the British news and their take of it, I suppose, because it's nowhere near reality. And I'm sure Mitch will be able to vouch for that. Like what's happening here? I don't know if you heard before, Mitch, I was explaining the difference in the size of Bahrain to the UAE. And the UAE is 106 times more. So if we've had 240 missiles in that 6-day period, you would have had like 25,000 in that same period to have the same effect, because Bahrain is small. He had just about every single bang. So the lack of sleep, which I was never known for sleeping long anyway, but the lack of sleep and the restrictions are the things that's annoying us most. But what I have done as well is I've been conscious of others who aren't as well off as me. There's 2 porters that look after me building, the sitting reception, let people in, let people out, or don't let people in as it is. And I've told them, because there may be vigilantes wandering around, not to let anyone into the building looking for me, tell them I'm not here or the place is empty. And things like if I do get out to buy some food, make sure they get some. And this morning I sneaked out because today is an off day in the Middle East anyway, and it's prayer day. So I was up early and I was out and I bought loads of water, and I give them like 12 big bottles of water so they can have 6 each, just to keep them going. Just little things like that. The communities are strong here, and I know Mitch will vouch for it. You know, there is a togetherness, and I don't like the false narrative that's getting pushed from the mainstream media in the UK. You know, the governments here have been fantastic. They really have. They've really been protective and looked after us and informed us. So I'm now in the verge of repeat myself. So I'll let Dr. Neil bang on for the other part of it.
Yeah, Neil, welcome along. Now, obviously, you're based in Dubai, so slightly different place. And he's gone now as well. Doesn't want to speak. This is the problem with Dubai. He's got an issue with the internet, of course, on a regular basis. And Steve is working, so Steve can only join us intermittently. Mitch has problems with his internet when things aren't going well in Dubai, but he is back. So yeah, Mitch, you're in Dubai. What's going on across there? Stu's told us, given us an update. But there are a lot of people here. Obviously, you've got your family, but a lot of people in the NUFC Matters community are concerned about you as well.
No, and like I said last week, there's so many messages still, and apologies if I don't get back directly to you. So many well wishes, and I appreciate every single one.
Yeah.
This is where the NUFC Matters community really is a community. But what you're seeing, like Stu says, what the communities are like here. I am going to work as normal. I still have patients to see. I had a good friend of mine Justine in today to catch up with her. I've not seen her for a little while. So after I sorted her teeth out, we had a coffee together as well and a catch up and see how she's doing. And you know, and she's very much like me. This is my home. We don't want to go anywhere. Feel quite insulted by the UK government to be accused of being a tax dodger, and I should be paying me own fare home, to the point of I almost feel unwanted.
You want to hear your dad's telly, son?
Well, exactly. You know, and if anybody would like to pay my tax bills that I had when I was in the UK, you're quite welcome to. Anyway, that's getting political.
It's tourists getting home, Mitch, isn't it? That's what they're hearing about. People desperate to get back home. It's people that have been on hold in the region, and that's understandable. They want to get back to where they live.
You're not seeing the reality, and the reality is I feel exceptionally safe. You know, the point Stu makes about the amount of drones and missiles that have been chucked around. The UAE's had most of them, the majority of it, and yet the way the government's acted with the air defences and various things, it still feels safe. What you're seeing damage-wise, there's very little actually got through, and most of what you're seeing is damage caused by intercepts.
Yeah.
You know, we're not certainly. I think there's a palpable difference between what Stu's going through to what I am at the moment, and I feel for him. You know, that every time what did I say the other day? Every time I open,
I love you.
Well, it was that as well, sweetheart. Every time I open a voice note for you, in the back of my mind, the video for Ghost Town by the Specials comes in my head.
Yeah, the siren's like a ghost train, isn't it?
If anybody, you know, go and Google it if you want to see what that's on about. I feel less under bombardment, and certainly I would in Stu's situation, and that's, I think, the biggest difference between the two countries at the moment. I was out watching the match on Wednesday night as normal. We were I was sitting with David and McGettigans in the Madnat outside, and we were watching the planes leaving, being escorted by a fighter jet, every single one. And we're watching the contrails of the weapons defense systems taking out missiles in the sky. As bizarre and as surreal as that may seem.
Yeah.
And then we went and watched Newcastle play Man United. And the reduced amount of the Dubai mags that were out that night celebrated long and hard, and it was fantastic. and you could almost forget what was going on for just that moment in time. Ironically, a reduced amount of Dubai mags are out because some of them are in the UK because the Man United game was our official supporters club game. So there's a load of them in the UK at the minute. They've been there for the Everton game and for the Man United game, and I don't know when I'm going to see them come back.
Oh, Mitch, sorry to interrupt you again, but there was a load of missiles and drones coming over Bahrain pre-match, wasn't it? Because I was sharing the voicemails and everything else, and then when the match started, there was nothing. And then 5 minutes after the game, the sirens went off and the bombing started. I thought, no, there must be Tehran Reds, upset because Newcastle Tyne Man United. and then it went on through the night. So then for the next day, there was nothing for the best part of, I think, 11 hours. And you're thinking, is it better? Is it better? And you don't know. And then, of course, it happens again. But we're all right. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of Mitch. Thank you, everyone, for your kind wishes. The minute the alcohol supply runs out, then things might change drastically, which is depleting by the day. So when that happens, then things might change. But seriously, and this, I'm not paid to say this. I'm not getting watched on social media to say this, but and I will repeat what I said earlier. The governments here have been absolutely fantastic, looking after the people.
Mm-hmm. We joke about the Tehran Reds, mate, but out here would surprise me. Out like that, it really wouldn't. You know what it's like out here. It's. I mean, there are genuinely fundamental differences between what Stu's going through and what I am. I mean, even down to the sirens, we get warnings on my phone.
And we get them as well.
When we get the all clear on my phone, there isn't an audible siren that you have.
Air raid siren, yeah.
And it's very different indeed. And I think it's not quite the sort of stiff up my lip and carry on, but there is a little bit of that out here, and we've got the British influence in the region to thank for that a little bit, I think. And so on we go, and this very much is my home, and I'll stand with everybody here with it, because this is where we live, this is where we are, and this is where our community.
Neil,
it certainly feels like that.
When I sit and watch what some of the idiots are putting up on the news here and on social media, I think I'll hop on a plane and come with you. This is a bloody shithole now.
It's very frustrating to see some of the things that are being said, particularly about Dubai.
Yeah,
there's an agenda being set.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
And certainly, look, Dubai is a city, and the UAE as a whole has little elements of everything that you see, but the negative things are far outweighed by the positives, and the negative people are far outweighed by the positive people. And I've said for a long time, the only thing you've got to check here is to make sure if you're handed something of gold, give it a scratch. Is it chocolate? Is it a chocolate coin with foil on, or is it the real deal? And you find out very quickly who and what the chocolate coins are. That becomes very apparent very, very quickly. And the real gold's still out there in terms of financially and in terms of people. And Stu and I have met and made some amazing friends out here.
Yeah.
And lifelong friends and people who have forever positively changed us. And Dave Cartman. God rest him. And people will always think of as friends, no matter where we are in the world and where they are in the world. And that's why that community spirit here is very much present, and don't believe everything you read in the papers.
There you go. Sound advice from people on the front line, if you like. So fingers crossed things start to get a little bit better for everybody concerned, because it is serious news that surrounds the world. Not just football news, but let's move to football news now and talk about Newcastle United's wonderful win against Manchester United, George. I'm pleased to say, George, that I managed to get a prediction right for the first time in a while. I did predict 2-1.
Me too.
I fancied Newcastle United to win against Everton as well, and but for the the calamity that we saw in our defending, I still think we would have got something out of that game. But that's in the past. We're looking at the Man United game now, and what a strike by William Masula to win the game, George.
Well, a goal worthy of winning any game, anywhere. But there's so much about that goal and about him that people seem to have glossed over. He was on for approximately 5 minutes. That's what they give him. And the message he was given was to have a go, apparently. And did he have a go? My God, he picked that ball up. He took it off the toes of Casemiro just outside our penalty area. And then he went down that, interchanged passes with Trippier, who in my opinion was the man of the match. Trippier laid the ball down the line and off Asula went. Now, I've been looking at the stats. I don't like to do stats, but there's one stat I am interested in. During that run, Will Asula reached 39.6 kilometers per hour in his run. That's the fastest run that's been recorded in the Premier League this year. I mean, these are important. People get stuck on stats. Well, there's the one that means something. And he's ours. We produced them. And then he cuts in and he does his double step over. And before the goalkeeper can move, it's sitting in the back of the net. And there's two Manchester Uniteds just looking at the Gallagher then, defenders. What the hell game they were playing, I don't know. Mind they're getting the lickings of a dog off their own supporters for what they've done. So that's Will Asula's winner. What a fantastic way to win the game, but what fantastic ability from him. And surely we've got to try and harness that more. If he's got to play wide, then play him wide, for God's sake. But we need to harness that more. And to be honest, Steve, your comments about the Everton game, if Dan Burn had as good a game against Everton as he had against them last night, Manchester United, we wouldn't have lost that match. Well, and we'd had a goalkeeper who didn't have crisp back at hands as well. It would have won that match easy. So, but the big thing was that the togetherness, the energy. A lot of teams would have just disappeared after that sending off and equaliser right on half time. What a time to get in that equaliser away, and on top of it, lose one of your essential midfield players. It could have crashed most teams, but it's quite clear that it didn't with ours. They got together and decided to come and do something about it, and they did. They had as much possession with 10 men as Manchester United had. They had more shots than Manchester United had. If people want to go to their stats, it was epic. It was immense, and so many great performances. But Kieran Trippier had one or two pastons off fans in recent weeks. Well, last against Manchester United, he was the outstanding player. He was leading from the front in every sense of the word. And his contribution in the winning goal was there for everybody to see. So, we've got a lot to be thankful for with that win, and not just the win, but the way it energized the team, their togetherness, the way they got involved. We had the old Anthony Gordon back. When he created his own penalty, and he took that ball off the midfielder's toes and ran down the wing and then cut into the penalty area and then was chopped down. All of his own making. No, I'm absolutely delighted the way they all stuck together and had a go. That was a game we were going to win and determined. And what's really, really nice about it is that even with 10 men, we didn't give in. We just made sure that the game was ours, and what a great goal to win it with as well. And as a well-known happy clapper, well, I am a bloody happy clapper today, no doubt about it. And why not? One of those goals and one of those games that we'll remember for a long time. And they're the things I'll remember over me 80 years in following Newcastle. I remember Jackie Milburn's non-hat trick in the cup final. I remember his header in the cup final. I remember the cannonball shots of Malcolm MacDonald in various games, and so on. I can remember all those pluses. I can't remember how many years it is since we lost at bloody Anfield. And I can't remember how many bloody years it is since we lost elsewhere. I don't give a toss about that. I want to remember the best things about Newcastle. And that win against Manchester United is up there with the best.
Dixie, our resident Everton fan, welcome, mate. He said, thanks for the 3 points last Saturday. It evened up your visit to us earlier in the season. The battle for Europe is on. It certainly is, Dixie, mate. I hope you're well. Great performance from the lads, even with a corrupt ref against us. How we got the extra time, I don't know. I said before the end of the first half, he'll play until Man U score. And he did, yeah. And, that was the only sour point, Mitch, for me of that game, that once again, we, as Michael says, are having to bring up more terrible decisions by referees against us to send Ramsey off. It's every week that it's happening lately, says Michael on Facebook.
There's a hell of a lot to unpack from that game, indeed, and that's just part of it. Just a little aside, I've just been sent the latest stats from the UAE. Since the start of the action, we've had 1,184 drones sent out, which they've intercepted 1,110 of. 8 cruise missiles, which have all been intercepted, and 205 ballistic missiles, of which 190 have been intercepted.
Wow, incredible!
It's crazy. And
is Eddie Howe in charge of your defences out there?
Possibly.
Sounds like
not in recent weeks.
Anyway, the referee, for starters, I think it's worth having a little chat about it.
Yeah.
There's no way he was going to his pocket until Maguire, Fernandes and Casemiro got in his face. He wasn't. I've watched this back 3 or 4 times. The first one happens Maguire, the second one happens Fernandes, and the third one's Casemiro. Probably because he had to run 30 yards and he was out of breath by the time he got to the referee. Fat little fuck. That referee was not even thinking about booting Ramsey. And you can have a situation like that where there's a coming together where you don't deem it to be a penalty, but you don't deem that the attacking player's been brought down, has gone down trying to con you. You give the decision and you walk away, and it actually happened in one other game this week, and I can't remember which game now. I tried to remember which game it was, but obviously with everything going on, my brain's a little bit fried. There was another game this week in which that happened.
Is it not City, Neil?
Might have been City Forest.
There as well.
Yes, it was City Forest. Yeah, absolutely right. It was, and the referee walked away. I think was it with Haaland.
Yeah, it was.
And he did not book Haaland, but he also did not give a penalty.
But it's against Forest the same night.
And that's totally fine. But he wasn't going to do a damn thing until the Man United players got in his face. That's why I was super delighted that Fernandes gave away the penalty, that Casemiro had the ball taken off him, and then Maguire bottled out of going to challenge Asula, and then did that funny little thing with his body when Asula took the shot, which only cowards do because they don't like being hit with the ball. That funny little.
Yes, yeah, like that.
You slab-headed moron. So yeah, that's one thing. Then the other thing it was, and I've seen somebody querying this, where did he get, after showing 3 minutes of extra time, where did he get all the extra time from? Well, the booking of Ramsey was in 45 plus 1. So the extra time was what he deemed he added on for both that incident and our penalty. Now, I've not had a chance to sit and try and work out how much time that is, but I can guarantee you, I bet you it's at least 2 minutes less than what we played. We played an excessive amount of extra time, in my opinion, and it did feel like let's play until Man U score. It really did, and I can understand why everybody feels that way, because we were pretty raging at it. I tell you how confusing it was. I went to the loo after Ramsey was sent off, and I came back to find Gordon lining up a penalty, and I was exceptionally confused, because I'm thinking, has he rescinded the card? Has he given a penalty? Has VAR stepped in? What the fuck's going on? Really, quite odd. So I can see why people are querying it. I query it too. I think he played a hell of that. I think he played at least 2 minutes more than he should have done. I get that the Ramsey incident happened just into that added on time, but there's no way that was the amount of time for me. It was over. And I think the referee in general was poor throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
And so I think there was a lot of other things he could have done better. But then you have to hand it to the way we reacted. And it's frustrating, because you wonder where the hell's that been in some of the other games. Just a fraction of that against Everton. Just a fraction of that against Brentford. Just a fraction of that. Could have sorted out so many of the home games that we've cocked up this season. That winning goal is just a prime example. If you want to show any team about not giving up and about using assets towards the end of a game that you have in a situation like that, with pace and a decent pass. And you've got to remember, effectively, that was a 1-2 between Asula and Trippier.
Yeah.
That then goes in towards the goal off the back of an excellent pass. He did well to keep it in play. And the minute Maguire handed that off to the fullback instead of trying to come across, he actually put his team in trouble. And then by the time he'd sent Malakia for a steak bake, Maguire's facing Asula coming in on his favoured foot, and apparently something he'd been practicing all day the day before. Well done, that lad. As ever, the Gary Player adage of the more I practice, the luckier I get comes into play. And well done for it. And a special note to Ramsdale coming in and playing as well as he did.
Yeah.
Again, you've had chances before to come in and show that off, and yet here you are turning it on in a game like that, because he made 2 top draw saves, but also looked assured with his feet and looked communicative with the back four, and everybody looked comfortable with him there. In a way that I haven't probably looked so comfortable in the last couple of weeks. So he's got that chance again, and he's taken it, and it's now up to him to cement that. And show us why we should sign you on a permanent deal over the summer. Let's see you turn that on every week. Thanks, mate. You've got a chance to genuinely resurrect your career here. Is that what you want? Because it's in your hands, literally. Absolutely, literally in your hands. And so I think it's a shame that we can't do anything about Ramsey, because I don't think it's a situation we can appeal about. Second yellows, I think, are part of something you can't appeal about. But I'm sure he'll be even more up for making amends for that when he does get a chance to get back on the side. Because I would be fizzing, I wouldn't care. You know what? If you'd done what a lot of players do and rolled over 3 or 4 times and had the hand up and made all the whinging noises you like, and the funny little you sometimes hear on the pitch side microphones when they're all, picking me words carefully, looking out for a sniper in the stands kind of thing. It's ridiculous that the referee let himself be controlled by the Man United players that much, because he was. There's no two ways about that. And I think that's again shows a shocking deficiency in how our referees are working at the moment.
Stu, over to you, mate. A great win. Wasn't 3-1. It was 2-1, but a win's a win, mate.
Well, as it happens, I actually backed us Newcastle to win with 10 minutes to go, and I got 9-1 for that, so no complaints. But you'd be not surprised to know a lot of my thoughts are very similar to Mitch's. But the thing is, you get after the Aston Villa when there was no VAR, when there should have been VAR, and then the Man City when there was VAR, and you can start thinking the world's against you. But it's the ineptitude of referees or the over-reliance on referees for VAR. Now, such a decision regarding Ramsey, for me, that's a game-changing decision. And fortunately for us, and unfortunately for them, it backfired on who they favoured the decision to. That should have been, look, I thought that was a goal kick. This is the referee speaking. Linesman signalling for like a dive. Can you sort it out? They stopped playing for everything else, and it would have took them 30 seconds and says, no, crack on. But in the face of adversity, we become stronger. But without wanting to sound negative, we've got to get it. We've got to snap out of this. We can't be the plucky young underdogs picking off teams that are bigger than us. We should be beating these teams, or at least give them a game with or without the help. And yes, it's frustrating how many decisions seem to go against us. And Mitch used a phrase from Gary Player, but what I normally say to the sales team that are working for me at the time is the harder you work, the luckier you get. It's surprising how often that happens. It's got to change the underdog mentality. The reliance on VAR is making our referees worse, but I'd still rather have it than not have it, because how many times have we complaining about the blatant bias? It's the fact that they're getting away with it. It's the I use the word again, ineptitude of those, mostly at Stockley Park, to be fair. Regarding Asula, what a great finish. And what I'm concerned about, this sounds really negative after such a great win, and say I was buzzing for it, is I don't want this to be his Matty Longstaff moment, where he'll always be remembered for that one goal. Yeah. I want him to kick on from this. I want him to grasp it and think, right, I can do it on the big stage. And by all accounts, all the noises that we're hearing and listening to, that he wants, well, not the noises that we're listening to, I suppose, but like from within the club, is that he has knuckled down, and he realises he could be a real player in the game, or he could just be a drifter. And maybe he's matured a little bit, maybe the penny's dropped, I don't know. But I really don't want to be 10 years' time saying, I remember what is Asula. We'll go back to like Matty Longstaff before them. What was the left back called? Was it Huntington or something like that scored against Man United? Paul Huntington got cap for Canada. You want this to be part of his story, not the story. And that's what I want about. The one thing I wanted to say at the start of the show is, the credits that come on at the start, the one that says Toon Star was clearly not Andre. It's meant to look like a professor. I think it's the spit and dabs of Lee, Pablo, as he's known on the what's it called, the fans forum. When you see the credits run, it actually does look like him. I just want this game, not to be, yes, we can do it. We talked about this last Sunday. We can do it when we really need to do it. It seems like we need the players to want to do it and need to do it for it to happen. But when it does, I know we're asking them to go again and go again and go again. But we're not asking them to go down the mines and work 16-hour shifts. We're asking them to run about and play football for, well, what is now 100 minutes twice a week, if that's what it is. You know, and they are incredibly fit. And I understand you get a little bit fatigued, but there's too many excuses creeping into the game now for me. And again, I know I get criticised for being old-fashioned. Yeah. Does it not look like them?
Yeah, I think it does, actually. Yeah, very good. Yeah. He's not usually that smartly dressed driving a bus, like. But
if you look at his comment there, it's the same person.
It is. Aye, Pablo. Well done, son.
See, if only you still did look like that would have been a clean one. So you can't not be happy about winning the Premier League game. You can't not be happy about beating Man United. And yeah, David, that's right. But I was sitting with Mitch on Gossie High Street on Boxing Day when we played Man United away. And this is why I was a bit optimistic. We went to Old Trafford that day expecting to give them a proper talent. And they had injuries, etc. Everything was in our favour to win. Yet they galvanised themselves and managed to get a win against us. And that seems to have kicked the start of their season. Well, the roles are reversed now, so hopefully it kickstarts our season. And we are capable. And that's probably the most frustrating part when we know we can hit these highs. And that's probably why the lows hit some people too much. And you get the overreactions. So long may it continue and look forward to Saturday. But what a great result. And in the face of adversity, 10 men, you would never have known we had 10. You would never have known it. And that's a credit to every single person who put a black and white strip on that day.
Yeah. Steve Hasty, we'll grab him while we can. He's on the job, Steve, aren't you?
I am. But you know what? Nothing stops the Amigos, does it?
What did you make of that, mate? What did you make of that performance?
I'll pick up on something that Stewie just mentioned there about the game at Christmas on Boxing Day, where we really did go at them, and the contrast between that and their performance, and then the way that it kick-started them, if you want to say. I think what's kick-started them has been the arrival of Michael Carrick, obviously, but I think that there's been like a little false narrative being played about Man United, and I think they came full of like not confidence but arrogance that, you know, we're getting the results. It's Michael. He's the lucky mascot. He's you know, brought success. He's brought victories. We're all happy and all that. And I'm hoping that what we've just done to them has deflated them to such a point that they don't win another game this season. Because, quite frankly, the way that some of their players went on, and I'm thinking of I'm thinking of two in particular in Maguire and Fernandez, you know, wanting to referee the entire game and getting in the referee's ear, and the referee falling for it. And I think we look at Peter Banks as a referee, and we think, you know what, you are overawed when you've got star footballers in front of you. You get carried away. You go with a false narrative, and you go with the flow of really, really embarrassing yourself. It's like you're scared. It's like you see a Fernandez or a Maguire, and you see the match of the day cameras, and you think, somebody's watching. That was never a sending off. It was never a booking. And there were other instances during that game where things happened where he made decisions where even his linesmen, who are 5 yards away, didn't spot things. There were offsides during that game that the linesman was so far behind. The incompetency is becoming an epidemic, Steve, in the game. Now, getting back to Newcastle, getting back to our team, let's have a big, huge praise for Eddie Howe and his plan B, because we go on and on about Eddie not having a plan B. It wasn't really a plan B. What it was how he reorganised after the sending off, how he narrowed the front two, where he brought Alanga over onto the right, made Anthony Gordon go onto the left. Another change of position for Anthony Gordon, and I thought he did that very, very well. He narrowed the middle. He stretched the midfield, if you like, a little bit, and he got some more running out of Willock when he came on. He took a risk taking Harvey Barnes off, but I think he had to do it. It was either Barnes or Elanga, and I think he went for the option of thinking they might go for a back three, and I think he thought that he would get more speed out of Elanga if we managed to get a break. I thought that the midfield, he also made a change with Joe Linton playing in the centre of midfield, allowing Willock to push wide on one side and Tonali to sort of operate that sort of not quite centre role, but not quite on the periphery, if you like. And I thought that it worked really, really well. But I think that was also down to the fact that the players saw that they had to do something. They had to really sort of graft and roll their socks up. And I think they took a lot of inspiration from what they were seeing from Kieran Trippier. A captain's performance that you can only wish for at times. And I think over the last couple of games, we have seen, certainly in the last half dozen games, we've seen a 35-year-old who's playing football 3 games in a week and showing very little adverse effect. Eddie took him off in a couple of games with 5 and 10 minutes to go. He took him off against Everton, and I think that was more a sort of, I need to try and change something rather than because he thought he was flagging. But the effort that Kieran's put in over the last sort of 6 weeks, where we've literally only had him, he's protecting himself as well, protecting himself from injury. I think that's got to be applauded as well. And Asula, yes, Stewie, you're right. We don't want that being the David Edgar, Paul Huntington, Matty Longstaff swan song from him. But that was all he did in the game, by the way. I mean, I know he wasn't on very long, but anyone who was sitting around me could hear me screaming, pull your socks up, do something. You've only been on the pitch 2 minutes. You've ran nowhere. You've done now. He was jogging around. It was as though he wasn't interested. And then all of a sudden, when that opportunity came, and the lovely pass by Trippier to set him off, and that was it. And yes, the defender backed off. The defender could have been a little bit closer. But you know what? He had to put the ball in the back of the net, and he did it with that phrase that George often uses, and I think Stewie uses as well. He did it with aplomb. We've got to be impressed by it. And if that starts his season, or that gives him the confidence to know that, you know what, I should be, if I'm on the bench, I should be the first one that gets an opportunity to come on, especially if Wissa's not getting a run out. And we don't really know what's going on with Wissa, although I suspect what Eddie's doing is he's basically putting them through a pre-season again before we get the opportunity to try and unleash him in the last sort of 10 games and hope there's some life in him, because so far we haven't seen any life at all. And this could be an opportunity for Asula. So we're looking at this and we're thinking, well done, more of it, got to have more of it, got to have more of it against City, and we've got to have more of it for every game towards the end of the season.
Yeah, good stuff, Steve. Thank you for all your comments in the chat, everybody. Some great stuff coming in. People guessing where Steve is. I think this comment probably sums it up from Mirkwood. You must be a cruft, Steve. It started yesterday.
Not quite. It's funny you should say that. Well, on a slight, something that Stewie was talking about at the beginning of the show, my daughter was in Thailand over the last week, and she's one of the few people who's been trying to get back into Dubai, which she managed on a flight to Muscat, and then a 9-hour drive from Muscat to get into Dubai. And now the poor lass has now found herself on a flight from Dubai to Heathrow this afternoon. So this is, I think, one of the things that people are forgetting is that there are people who are not tax exiles living in Dubai. There are people out there to work, like Stu and like Mitch in the Middle East, and like my daughter, and they're not that people have forgotten about, but I'm definitely not at Crufts. I know that for a fact.
Good stuff, Steve. Great stuff. Okay, we are halfway through the show. We'll have a quick ad break back after this.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to United Group Travel, our fanzine sponsor. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Deposits from £50 per person. A big thanks to Media Arts. Their website, www.media-arts.co.uk. Email info@media-arts.co.uk or telephone 0191 637 5061. If you want to help support the channel, then you can click the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. It is free. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your social media. A big thanks to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can listen to us on the road, on this network, or by tuning into iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can also join the channel by hitting the join button on YouTube or go to our website, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. You can pay a one-off fee of £25 and you'll receive a membership card, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a key ring, a badge and a pen. £25, nufcmatters.co.uk.
Okay, welcome back to the Three Amigos. Yes, the Professionals is on Sunday, folks. Just keep an eye out. It will be loaded very soon. Now it's time for the disclaimer. Anybody easily offended, time to go and do something for 5 minutes while we supply you with some humour from the tweets of the week from our wonderful viewers. And we'll start with a few signs. Tesco is certainly going the extra mile again, rimmed by passionate people.
Oh my God.
Exactly. We're going to rock down to Electric Avenues closed. Well, let's put an end to that. And your dream bathroom starts here. Dear me, I'd like to think I could get a toilet and not just a bucket, like. And this one, lost colostrum in my bag, last seen in the ball pit at McDonald's. And the manager's special this week, well, it's not just any biscuit, it's a majestic ass biscuit for $4.99. Thank you, Jimmy. And Mozza, who is a Tina Turner musical tonight, has left Alan in charge of the computer. They have sent us this, which is apparently a bird's eye view of the street that they live in. Says it all, Alan, says it all. It's not the size, son, it's what you do with it. And take that, criminals. No crime between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Looks like Tyne mouth, that. It does. And I thought self-checkout at Walmart was bad. Now we've got a self-cemetery. I'm not digging that, that's for certain. And the longest sign in Wales actually means Holyhead. Give it a go. Lan via pool gwen gil goge un quen drob ul la landes lelilo gogo gok. There we go. That wasn't too bad. And this one, when you order your security from Temu. Football security as well. Finland might just have the best bread. Let's give it a try. Some juicy pussy. And the worst Chinese comes from fresh cock. And came across these on my walk this morning. Anyway, my mouth's extremely numb and I've lost the use of my right hand. Good looking like this one. Diego Maradona and Peter Shilton reenactment at the hand of God goal. And here's a little quiz for everybody. Can you find Greta? I'm never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Very good. That's a new one and it's a good one. Star Wars one here. Safest car in the universe. Will never hit anything. And always check your ad before posting on a dating website. Heather posted this. I'm loyal, I'm honest, I'm a loving person, looking to find someone to make memories and cuddle up with at the end of a long shit. And name my dog 5 miles.
Relax and poo.
No, definitely not. Name my dog 5 miles so I can tell people I walk 5 miles a day. Professor Barkley replied, I ran over 5 miles today. And this guy will never recover from this. My day is just crap. What's wrong? Beer frozen, burnt me pizza, and my girlfriend's pregnant. Reply was, you just can't pull anything out on time, can you? And this one from Lisa was a classic. These 2 bikes were taken from my back garden today. If anyone sees them, let me know. Thanks. And then she put a picture of 2 lads. Carl says, at least you have the pictures of the 2 who stole the bikes. They look like scumbags. Lisa replies, Carl Groom, they are my kids on the bikes. And we'll finish with a few jokes. We'll start with this one. 2 mafia hitmen are walking deep into a forest in the middle of the night. One of them says, I've got to admit, I'm scared out here. And the other replies, you're scared, I've got to walk back alone. Cool ones are the best ones. And I discovered that answering the door naked helps deter trick-or-treaters. Oh, here we go. Here's another 2 dressed as policemen. And my dentist has tons of posters of teeth and gums in his office. Luckily, my gynecologist hasn't really decorated hers yet. And a headline from the Daily Daphne, local chiropodist arrested for stealing all the broken nail bits after foot treatment. His wife told us it seems he's a kleptomaniac.
Oh.
Thank you to all the usual suspects for their tweets this week. We will feature them on the show next week as well after the disclaimer. If you want to send some nufcmatters1892@gmail.com is the email, or send them to the lads on social media or WhatsApp if you're lucky enough to have them, and we will feature them next week. Okay, ticket prices. I've held off for long enough, but it is a talking point today, and every now and then we have to mention it. What do the lads think of 5% or 15% on the season tickets coming up for us in Bar 1892? Says one person. Mainly people saying ticket prices going up again, yet we still have no sponsors for training ground or kits, etc. Although I suspect prices will be going up even if we did have them, such as the way football has gone. Mr. Jimble says, any news of membership increases? I've just had one ballot success out of the last 43 games. Why not just round up my £47 membership to £50? I know it's a 6.5 increase, but hey, what's a few percent when you're getting well and truly shafted anyway? And Barry says, what do the Amigos think of the season ticket increase? We all know the club would happily get rid of a lot and turn them into corporate. Would it be necessary with sponsorship increases? So lots of people talking about it, George. It's the price you've got to pay, unfortunately, for progress in football, and everyone's season ticket prices will be going up, I would imagine.
Well, I've got to say, despite the fact I never claimed to be a financial genius, but this thing is so short-sighted, so short-sighted on behalf of the club, because they've got an audience that's willing to pay. They're going to milk them as hard as they can. For God's sake, why don't you just go over to Germany and have a look at how they run their clubs in Germany and how they treat their fans in Germany? It really is ridiculous that the same people are going to get hammered and hammered until eventually they will drive them out and they will get all their corporates in. and we'll be stuck with a prawn sandwich brigade like Manchester United were accused of being. Well, it's headed our way, folks. I love me club, and I'd pay a little bit extra to go and see me club, but I'm lucky to be in a position where I might be able to. But I know there's lots that sit beside me who won't be able to. So suddenly they're cut adrift. And if they were going to be replaced by people I would regard as real fans, I'd say yes. But sadly, some of the replacements are those that come in late, go half-time soon, come back from half-time late, and go home soon. They hardly see any bloody football. So, yeah, it's inevitable. I think you're absolutely right, Steve. It is inevitable. But I think it's, in my opinion, totally unnecessary and I think short-sighted in terms of what they're trying to do. There are ways and means, if they would get their finger out and do some real work on sponsorships, that the amount the fans pay would again become almost inconsequential like it was before. I mean, that was the thing in days gone by. It was, in terms of fans, club revenue, the amount the fans paid was always slightly inconsequential. It's even more so now. And yet here we are, facing another price rise that, to my mind, is difficult to justify from where I'm standing, because what you get for it. Because I've got to say, some of the service, and I'd want to go back over what we've done in terms of lifts and things, but there's a certain lift at the Gallagher end isn't even going to be looked at till next season. Yeah. And yet we are having to pay for it. And still, the service in the ground and the lifts that are working are preoccupied with people doing catering duties and other duties, shouldn't even be in those bloody lifts. So anyway, yeah, it's going to happen, Steve. I accept it's going to happen, and hopefully I'll be able to pay it. But I think totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, look, just the prices have gone up across the board. Some areas are being changed. So yes, there is 15% increases where some areas have been changed from one thing to another. There has been an announcement, of course, by David Hopkinson this week to say that there's going to be a major upgrade on the internal features for fans. Fans, when they walk into the ground in August, will notice a difference. So I guess, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that. I told the lads I caught up with Natalie Noyes this week from the FAB, and the noises that she was making, but I didn't go public with it. I said I wouldn't until the announcement came. But yeah, it is what it is. We've just got to accept that these things have happened. It makes me wonder a little bit, Mitch, about NUST because they've essentially made a big point over the last 18 months about ticketing, and this is a major thing that they fly the flag for, but it seems as if it's all really fallen on deaf ears, Mitch. All this stuff that they claim that they're putting in, letters being written, etc., but it's just been dismissed really by the club. So again, pretty much like the fans liaison committee when I was fans liaison officer back in 2000. It's a token shop. It's valuable because you have it's valuable in the sense that fans are given the opportunity to speak, to the right people. In fact, I'd go as far as to say the fact that the FAB are sitting talking with David Hopkinson and etc. and the people at the top, they're not having to sit and talk to a conduit. But at the same time, really the club will always just do what the club want to do. We'll never get what we want, which is a chance to vote on stuff, I guess, and say, right, this is what we want. Power to the people, power to the Toon Army kind of thing. We're never going to get that in any shape or form, are we really?
All of that's gone, and any dream of any of that's gone.
Yeah,
and it went a while ago, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. They've put themselves into a curious position where they want to protect their relationship with the club. So how do they then be overly critical of the club?
Yeah.
And that was always a danger. once they got the point that they're at. They're very quick to grandstand when they get something that they feel like they can chirp about, and they're very quick to be quiet in a situation like this. As is ever was, unfortunately. It was inevitable. There's a number of factors behind this. You have to remember why the 10-year price freeze and some of the actions that Ashley made are still coming to bite and coming home to roost. It was always going to be an increase, and if there was always going to be an increase, the noise always was going to be. It was those in the so-called premium areas that were going to bear the biggest burden. And that seems to have been the way they've wanted to target things for a while. Wrap that up with how they would rather have, I think, a significant amount more of truly corporate packages in those areas. It kind of doesn't surprise us. They will have a figure in mind, a point at which they feel this is how far we dare push this before we'll have too big a drop-off. And they're going to nudge you towards that point. In fact, they're not nudging for the sports bar areas by a 15% increase this season. But they will have a figure in mind about how tight they can squeeze until the pips actually squeak. I've seen it done on other projects before. I remember seeing a graph coming out of one of the local authorities about the Tyne tunnel charge and how high they felt they could push the Tyne tunnel charge before it actually had a significant effect on the amount of people using the Tyne tunnel. They'll have a similar sort of statistical analysis for how far they think they can push a season ticket price before it becomes an issue, or before they can hoover some of them up and turn them into truly corporate packages. Because we've got on-site and off-site corporate now, if you remember, and there's lots of different ways of this being applied. It feels a shame that it's the fans that feel like we're being leaned on, whilst they've just launched yet another Adidas range, and Adidas have just announced next year's retro ranges for the top tier teams. So it makes you wonder how many ranges we're going to get next season, because Adidas are lining up a hell of a lot of things for if you're looking at that sort of industry news for their top tier clubs next season. They've got all sorts planned, and with Serie A announcing that they're doing a retro weekend where they're wanting all the teams to wear retro kit next season. This is something that's going to, I think, become ever more popular across ranges. And if you look at Arsenal's financials about the way they've looked at retail expansion, and one of the key parts of that has been releasing many ranges over a season. And we're part of the same, parent supplier. So there's no doubt we'll be subjected to that. So who then bears the brunt of that? Well, it's us again. And that's something that it's not just guys who've got season tickets then being asked to bear the brunt. That's casual fans who go to the odd game. That's international fans who see, and in some cases, like you've seen, we sometimes get the bloody releases before they even hit St James's Park. And you can see all the Dubai mags hoovering it up as soon as certain things hit. The weekend that the Terrace Icon stuff was released, half of the Dubai mags were wearing Terrace Icon stuff. And it was nuts. And so
we had the trainers about a month before they were released, weren't they? To the point when I was back home, people were saying they were fake. I was saying, no, they're not.
And so it's a shame, yet inevitable almost, and very predictable, that they want to lean on the fan base this way again. There's not an irony, lost that the richest owners in the world are doing this, because the play the SAR card that's already been played about income and maximising income which, yes, we get it. We totally get it. But when you don't seem to be matching it in other ways, is it any wonder fans are getting pissed off and people are getting frustrated at you? You're not helping yourselves. And I think that's the thing that annoys me the most, is it's now time to see what kind of commercial muscles Newcastle United really can flex. I still believe the way that Hopkinson's been going on about them being happier with SCR and being very relaxed about it almost suggests to me he knows something we don't, big time. Like, what the hell have you got planned to get around this financially? Because we've got no hotels to sell to ourselves. We've got no, the women's team's worth about £2.50, so we can't really sell that to ourselves. Because if you look at the teams who are selling women's teams, the top flight women's teams, and there's things you can trade with there. We don't have that. And so it makes us wonder what's in the pipeline. And I hope it's all positive. But it does feel very frustrating from a fan's perspective to feel that once again, like every club in the world, it seems to be when there's a problem to solve and it involves finances, come to the fans.
Yeah.
Be that whether you go into administration and you need money to resurrect the Phoenix team, be that you've got an errant chairman who doesn't want to fund the club anymore, or be that you need to be balancing the books in some way, shape or form. But it feels, it doesn't sit well when we feel and have felt over the last year in particular that the club themselves could be doing more to right this situation, not just putting additional pennies onto things that take off the fans.
Yeah, I just want to point out that we've got our Age UK auction, got about 20 minutes left. So if you want to pick up a nice cheap bit of memorabilia and help the Age UK people in North Tyneside, then please do. We've got loads of stuff up there. The link is in the chat on YouTube. Alan Shearer signed prints, and there we go. Kevin Keegan, Peter Beardsley, Chris Waddle, Terry McDermott, Prince, all signed at events that we have done with NUFC Matters. Click the link in the chat. We've sold about 4 or 5 items on there, I think, so far, but there's quite a few up there. All start around about 25 quid, so get yourself on. Obviously, there's still about 20 minutes to go, but don't miss out. If you want to own a little piece of Newcastle United history and help charity, then please do. Stu, yeah, ticket prices, look, they're going to go up, and corporate's going to go up, and it's only going to get worse. We've talked about it many, many times. Fair increase, do you think? The 5% increase on general season tickets across the board?
I'll probably encompass a couple of things that George and Mitch have said, and then add my own things as well. But we're a business, whether we like it or not, and that's how it's run now. It's not a club, it's not for the fans, it's a business. And business is all about supply and demand. But the phrase, be careful what you wish for, I think is very apt here. Because if you look at Wednesday night, would corporate or day trippers have created that atmosphere? And the answer is definitely not. And that goes back to something I repeat often, is it's when you're working in the world of business, it's normally sold on 2 things, and it's fear of loss of hope to gain. And they might want to gain the extra money, but you've got to be careful what you're going to lose from doing that. And we've said on this channel, definitely on this program and on the professionals for probably the last 3 or 4 years, the prices will go up. But for me, it's a false economy, because I don't think anyone will forsake their season ticket. They've seen what happened the last time around when they did, for the right reasons, in the Ashley era, and how they've been treated like lepers since. Anyone who's fortunate enough to have one, I don't think they will want to give it up. But where the false economy comes in is when Adidas are churning out all this stuff. Now, the average person will buy maybe 3 bits, whether it's the top, whether it's training short, the tracksuit top, whatever. That'll just reduce to 2. So instead of spending 300 quid with the memorabilia or the the Adidas collections, whichever collection it is, whether it's special, whether it's, all of the ones that go about, I'll just buy 2. So they're the normal match-going fans, the working class fans won't over budget, won't spend more, they'll spend the same, but it'll go into the club instead of going into Adidas. This is where we've got to be more understanding, and I don't want to go down the road that I've created and forged so many times about, well, if we had more sponsors, etc., etc. I think people are sick of hearing me say it, because I know I'm sick of saying it, and it's now bearing fruit. People that will understand. Well, I'm reading it today. Well, when it was announced, why don't you get sponsors in? Well, we've been saying this for about 3 years and give very eloquent and financially plausible reasons of how they could and where they could, and it's never happened. So before we pass on to Steve Hasty, I think we're talking about ages, how long people support. See, I'm old enough to remember when Tweet of the Week had tweets in it. So I would like to say something like, I could create a new feature for you, because I wasn't going to mention it, Steve, but you mentioned that you met with Natalie Noyes earlier in the week, and you've got some snippets, you shared one there. You could create a new feature called Noise is Noise and just give once a week something that is discussed. The price of the tickets were always going to go up. See, that's just my sales and marketing head. The price of the ticket will always go up. But if you give them one hand, they'll get taken away with the other. That's the way I see it. So if your tickets went up £50 to £100, you'll still pay it. But what you won't do is buy as much stuff to show your commitment to the club. And like I say, it might be two garments instead of 3, or 3 instead of 4. But I don't think the average match-going fan expenditure, unless it's massively affordable, will get higher. And I think sometimes people don't understand the reason behind that, and sometimes it comes across as like they don't really care. They don't want you, they don't want George, they don't want Steve Hasty sitting there every week. They'd rather have someone like me flying across and paying twice as much for the ticket and spend a couple £100 in the club shop and then clear off again. That's the way it is, and it's a bigger picture than just Newcastle United. It's slowly killing football from the inside out, and I know it can come across that they're taking advantage of our loyalty, because we are loyal to the nth degree and possibly too loyal supporters. But when push comes to shove, you can only spend as much as you've got, and you can't overspend. And if your budget for the whole year is your season ticket plus this, your season tickets went up, well, sorry, I can't buy the home top. And if you have a choice, Steve, you get the new price season ticket, but you don't get the home top, or you get the home top and you don't get your season ticket, you'll take your season ticket every time. And that, unfortunately, that's a sad reality of it.
Yeah, it certainly is. Steve, are you with us?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, what's your feelings on the ticket increase?
God, we've only got half an hour and you're only going to give me 3 or 4 minutes here. You know what? Let's get this blunt. The reason that the tickets have gone up is because they want to put them up, not because they have to put them up, because they want to. That's why they've done it. They want to put that ticket price up. You've got people in, let's say, commercial, who are sitting there. You can't get a quart into a pint pot. You can't squeeze any more people into St James's Park than we already have. And their mentality now is, well, how do we squeeze some money out of them? And the only way that they can squeeze money out of them is by charging them more to get in. Now, the problem they've got is 95% of those people will carry on paying and take the increase. The ones that don't, however, and this is where they're being very clever, they've stuck a 15% increase on the seats that are in the Milburn stand, the 1892 and the Platinum Club in particular. The reason being that if those season ticket holders do not take their tickets, those tickets will immediately go to the corporate people, or more importantly, the commercial department. The commercial department will then be able to say, I can resell that ticket, sir, at 5 times its face value, 4 times its face value. there are tickets going for the Sunderland game at £750 if you want to go for a meal at Gaucho as well, or a meal in the Hadrian Tower. That's what we're up against, and that money is going to go to the club. So somebody in the club has gone, we're not really getting any more sponsors in, but what we'll do, sir, what we'll do, boss, I've got an idea. Let's force people out the seats by putting the prices up to such an extent that they'll not come back, and then we'll own the seats. We'll have control of those seats for 19 games, and we can do what Stewie's just said, which we can sell those seats to, let's call them what they are. We'll call them travellers. We'll call them people who are coming in. We'll call them visitors. Day trippers who are going to come from one game. And while they're there, they're going to spend that £200. I'm not going to spend the £200 as the season ticket holder. I've done it once. I'm going to do it once with the kit at the start of the season or when something comes out. But every visitor, and we've seen it at Tottenham, every South Korean who came to watch Park Sung play for Tottenham was spending £250, £300, £400 as part of that trip in the club shop. They only came for one game and then they would sell it. The person who came the next week on the trip would also spend the £400 or £500 as well as the ticket. And so it goes on. So there's a premium sitting on the head of that. Newcastle United could have been the exception rather than the rule. They could have been the exception that balked against high ticket prices. But every club, you'll see, will put their tickets up on a standard ticket by 5%. We've already seen Man United announce, and theirs are going to go up 5%. They'll all go down 5%. The real reason that the ticket prices are going up is because the Premier League signed a worse TV deal for for 3 years than the previous deal they had for 3 years. So collectively, the clubs overall are getting less for the TV deal. They didn't get an increase on the TV deal, they got less. And all that's left then is to squeeze the pips of the fans. We could have been like Germany. George is absolutely spot on. And we should be like Germany. But unfortunately, fan groups are not organised like they are in Germany. Supporters within a club are not organised themselves to rail against it. And Mitch is absolutely right. I'm afraid the trust is now there to protect its corner because they want to carry on talking, but they don't know what to carry on talking about. And the Fans Advisory Board should actually be renamed the Fans Advised Board, because all that happens is they get advised by the club what the club is doing, and then they react after the event. That's all they can do. They are not advising the club, you know what, if you do that, this is what's going to happen, and it's going to come down on you like a ton of bricks, and we're going to hammer you, and nobody's going to turn up, and we're going to rail against you, and we're going to do everything we can publicity-wise to make life awkward for you, Hopkinson, and to make life awkward for you, whoever's got the job of Silverstone. Nobody's taken that job yet, by the way, as far as I'm aware. But this is what's going to happen, and unfortunately, we're not like that anymore. We're not the rebellious crowd that we were. We're not. There's no life. There's no guts. And football clubs are just going to carry on, and they're going to exploit.
Fear of loss, Steve. Fear of loss. It's business, isn't it? Fear of loss.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's not that fear out there anymore because they know that the ground is full, and so we can just do whatever you like. And Hopkinson will stand there in front of fans and tell them we're only going to go up by the rate of inflation. That's what apparently he said when he met with fans at the Stack a couple of months ago, when he first turned up and he was doing his nice and smiley. Now we're finding it's 15%. And I'm not being funny, but what are you getting for that 15%? Because if they are saying that they're going to do the ground up, and they're going to do all this work at St James's Park, it's going to take an awful lot more than the £1.5 million that they're going to spend on some new screens. And that one article I read actually made out that those new screens are going to be inside the ground. They're not going to be inside the actual bowl. They're going to be they're going to be basically slightly bigger TVs for you to watch the game on, and at half time, or to watch some sort of like prelude before the match of oh, this is what we're about. I don't understand why we suddenly have to have TVs like that. And as far as the hospitality and the lights, I'll use.
Oh, we've lost you, Steve. Lost him in his prime.
Must have slipped off his soapbox.
Yeah, he's well. Look, I think we've got Steve's point there. We'll bring him back in. We'll bring it back when he comes in. Look, it's all about opinions. What I will say is, thank you, Natalie, for meeting. And I know you probably do watch the show on occasions, and you're in the UK at the moment. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a good chat. I hope what I said to you helps you as much as what you told me helps me. And I think, we'll always be in that position. I think, sadly, fans and football clubs have got further and further apart. But I am thankful that we get told stuff. I am thankful we get an email to tell us that our pants are going to get pulled down as supporters. That's just life. That's the way it is in general. I'm glad I get told I'm going to have 13 or 14 new tops I can buy. I'm glad I'm told that my season ticket's gone up another 200 quid. And nothing's going to change. It's only going to get worse. If we get a new stadium, it'll get it'll get to the point where some of us will have to cut off that support going to the ground, because some people just won't be able to afford it, and it's as simple as that. But that's the price we pay for success. Let's hope we get bucketfuls of success, and as fans, we can still support us. We'll leave it there. Ballot, an email from Tom Hogg. I'll just finish with this. He says, "Hi, Steve. I have asked NUST how many MAGS members there are. They've told me the club won't give them this information. I've asked this as when I go on the ballot, there's always at least 150,000 in the ballot." He says, "I'm sure that there aren't that many MAGS members. Cheers, Tom Hogg." So,
Sorry to put my legal hat on again. They've just made a perfect description of why they think they call a ballot is totally illegal.
Yeah, I know. You've said that many times before. Let's look ahead to Mark Bayer says, I'm not reading that. I'm not going down that road. Yes, Manchester City at home. Newcastle face Manchester City in their FA Cup 5th round tie at St James's Park tomorrow, 8 o'clock kickoff live on TNT Sport. A result must be reached on the day. 30 minutes extra time will be played if the scores are level at 90 minutes, and the tie will be settled by a good old-fashioned penalty shootout if required. Match tickets, please God, remember this. For those on the FA Cup ticket scheme, they are on your bloody digital season ticket, right? So let's not have the faff on that we'll have at every flipping cup game, right? So just remember, this time it's on there, but the Champions League game next week is a ticket which you've got to upload to your phone. Remember that, for God's sake. Honestly, it just causes complete chaos, this, but I just feel like I need to hammer it home this time. So it's on your season ticket tomorrow. So don't, when you wake up tomorrow, start panicking because you can't find the email with your ticket on, because it's on your season ticket already.
Steve, remember the old season tickets? They used to have the league games and then cup game 1, 2, 3. You just pull to the ticket and give it to them. Wouldn't that be a lot more simple?
Well, it would be, yes, but that's not what we do, unfortunately. Yeah, and honestly, and I tell you half the problem. I could go on a rant here, especially where we go in. The 2 stewards on the door downstairs couldn't give a flying F, right? Because they stand there, they let every single person in. You could show them your library card, and they'd let you in. So then they let people go up 4 flights of stairs. And they get to the lads at the top of the stairs, and the lads at the top of the stairs are fighting a losing battle because they're taking you to the machine. You show your phone in front of it, and then it goes red. And they go, "Well, sorry, mate," he says, "but you should have downloaded your ticket for the Champions League game." Well, I did, didn't I? Well, I don't know, mate. He says, "It's going red." "Yeah, well, can I not just go in? You know I've got my ticket." "Well, no, mate," he says, "because, it's showing red, so it says that you haven't bought a ticket. And B, if you don't register that you're here, but then you go in, you see, you'll be in bother." So it just causes an absolute nightmare. So, yes, tomorrow it's easy. It's on your season ticket. Simple as that. Team news. Nick Voldemorda is expected to be back in the squad, not necessarily the team, after illness. Tino Livramento is close to return, but tomorrow will come too early. Lewis Miley is expected back, but again, this game will come too early. Fabian Shaw and Bruno Guimaraes still a long way off. Jacob Ramsey serves a one-match ban following his red card against Manchester United in the Premier League. Ahead of their visit to Tyneside, the third this season, Manchester City drew 2-2 at home to Nottingham Forest, giving Arsenal the advantage in the title race. Pep Guardiola's side reached this point in the competition with a pair of home wins against EFL sides, 10-1 against Exeter City and 2-0 against Salford. The visitors were allocated 4,893 tickets, but they failed to sell them all. And the configuration of the away section means that unsold ones can't be reallocated to home fans, and therefore Saturday's crowd will be under capacity. The referee is Sam Barrett, third game of the season, following the 2-1 Premier League home victory over Man City and the 0-0 draw away at Wolves. In total, Barrett's taken charge of 5 senior games involving Newcastle, and we haven't lost one. VAR is in operation, and it is John Brooks. And don't forget that if you are visiting the game tomorrow night, pop to the food bank and you can drop money in the bucket and Jamie Rubin will double it. So, George, coming to you. FA Cup back in town. Newcastle's best chance, I think, of winning a trophy and certainly getting to Europe. A spot up for grabs if you can get to the final and win it. George, what's your feelings about this game?
Well, I've always felt confident about this one. And, you know, my confidence is that we'll win 2-1. I just have a feeling that after the last time we played them at their place, and we should have got a result there, we demonstrated that we can cope with them, and with the hopefully the extra bit of vim and confidence that they've got out of giving the other side of Manchester a bit of a hammering. Will give them the confidence to have a go at them. So I'm looking forward to a great game and a game that we will win 2-1.
Okay, Mitch.
Well, due a result against Man City, I would like to see we stick the effort in that we did against Man United, then chuck a little caution to the wind and have a proper go at them. Let's just, you know, it's Gibbo's puncher's chance, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've always got that. And why not ride the crest of the wave of that amazing Willisula goal and take that into the City game? City showed they've got vulnerabilities against Forest through the week. They're not infallible and they're very beatable. And it's got to be sorted on the night. I didn't realise we had VAR back again. Is this from the FA randomizer? Is this the big FA randomizer? Or did they have a big wheel saying yes, no, who knows? But if that's the case, we're actually due a bit of a fair shake off of VAR as well. You know, it could be like a nice coming together. Are you getting rattled there, Mr. Penman?
Fighter Jets.
So I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to come out with a 2-0 win to Newcastle United over 90 minutes.
What does the dice say? Because Tom Dixon will ask.
The dice says 1-1.
Okay, so it doesn't do penalties, the dice, does it?
No, up to 3-3, I guess.
Okay, I'll stick with your prediction. Stu, we know you always go for 3-1. I mean, the lads should be bouncing and buzzing after that result against Manchester United, and rightly so. So I guess you're just going to agree with everybody, really. We need to just show the same effort against Man United and hope we'll get a bit of a rub of the green from the officials for a change.
I think if the same effort against Man United would be enough to see us win tomorrow, for a number of reasons. I like the way, especially the first half, we passed the ball with intent, with purpose. It was more precise rather than just putting it in an area. It was to people's feet or in front that run onto. It was quicker, and that's the Newcastle that we want. That's the Newcastle that got the crowd behind them. And if you look at the bigger picture, I'm sure the club would rather, if we had to win and lose one, which is not the options, they'd rather us lose on Saturday and win against Barcelona because of the financial gains from that. But for me, and like you said at the start there, Steve, this is our big chance to win a trophy. And as a supporter, it's all about winning trophies. We've got Barcelona at home, so we're at home. Man City, who have got more realistic opportunity of winning the Champions League than we have, whether we like that or not. They're away to Real Madrid, and that has to take precedence as far as I'm concerned from their point of view. But I think tomorrow it will highlight the real restrictions or lack of depth we've got in our squad. So the team just about picks itself, but I think Eddie likes to throw in a curveball. And for some reason, I think he's going to go 5-3, 5-2-3 or 3-4-3, whichever way you look at it, and play with wing backs. And it'll be a way of integrating Botman back into the team and taking the workload off the two centre halves that have been playing. Because you can't just put Botman in, because you see him and Byrne both struggling the right-sided role of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Botman comes into play, and that would allow Joelton and Tonali to sit in midfield, and then anyone's guess, you can get the tombola out for which three they play up front with Barcelona game in mind. But if we really go for it, and if the crowd are really up for it, which I'm sure they will be, 8 o'clock on a Saturday is ideal, but not for us over here, but it's ideal for people that can even keep the other half happy, do a bit of shopping, get their chores done, etc. Still go out, have a few pints, and be ready for it. Now, this is something that Mitch himself discussed, I think it was when we were in Tenerife, about our love and affiliation for the FA Cup. And I know I've mentioned maybe 3 or 4 years ago, one of the best atmospheres I've seen at St. James, and it was a long time ago, it was the time when we got up to Wimbledon in the quarterfinals, and we were all certain that we were going to win the cup that year, and they come and did a job on us for Fashanu and that. But I'm sure that same season we played Preston at home, and their away fans were fantastic. We need our fans to be fantastic for this, and this should have been an opportunity to reduce prices and restrict it to... this is going to sound really bad, and I'll get criticised for it, but restrict it to people within a certain mile radius of St. James and make it a proper bear pit. And I'm sure that they will not take this game as serious as us. That should level it out a bit. And I've got to brag a little bit, because I predicted on Sunday that we would win 2-1 against Man United. I think we're going to get a result that's not going to suit any side. I think it'll be a draw in normal time, and then we'll go in extra time. And I think the fans can make the difference. They'll be able to make more impactful changes off the bench. But if the atmosphere is anywhere near like it was on Wednesday, if you're a Man City player, you don't really want to come onto that. But if you're a Newcastle player, you'll hop, skip, and jump off that bench to be part of it. So I think in extra time we'll go through. That's my prediction anyway. I have done the 3-1, by the way, just in case.
Yeah, well, I've gone for 2-1 again. I'm going for my third 2-1 prediction in a row. So I think Newcastle will win in normal time 2-1. Steve Hasty?
I'm in the Stu camp there. And I'm going to go for 1-1, but I'm also going to go for 1-1 at the end of extra time and it go to penalties. And then there's the mad scramble, and we'll see how many people have to leave early because they want to go and get the bus. Stu, that game, the Wimbledon game, was that 88? They went on to win the cup.
88, yeah, they won the cup.
I remember it well. Yeah, I remember it well. We did think that was one of those ones where we thought we're going all the way to Wembley. You're absolutely right.
No, right, Steve, did we? We're never a good team, but it just showed the affiliation Newcastle have with the FA Cup and how it's been passed down the generations. We really thought we were going to win it that season, didn't we?
Exactly. Willie McFall, I think that was the John Hendry signing. The Willie McFall signed at Hendry and Robertson and centre half, didn't he? But
they had Hendry, Robertson, I think Mirandina up front, and they just booted the ball up to the smallest forward line in Football League history.
Yeah, that was the infamous game where Gazza sorted me out with my ticket when I ended up in the wrong queue. That that was it. And of course, the week before, we'd played them at Plough Lane. We'd got a 0-0 draw, and Vinny grabbed Gazza's balls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, amazing memories. Okay, thanks everybody who completed the auction. I'll make an announcement on that in due course. Back in the morning for Three's a Crowd at 10:30. And what time did we say we'll do the professionals on Sunday? I can't even bloody remember.
Well, I'm pretty free to do any time, Steve, so it'll be up to you.
I know you are. We said Sunday morning, 10:30 till 12. So professionals is back on Sunday morning, 10:30 till 12. As always, thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the moderator.
Can I just get something? Yes. I've just been sent. We're talking about don't believe what you say in the media.
Yes.
So you'll have seen the Fairmont on the Palm was hit by debris, and there was a big song and dance made about the fire that was there, and it was under attack. The bill apparently to fix it was 2,000 dirhams.
400 quid.
400 quid.
Brilliant.
Me and him have spent more on shit nights out.
Yeah. The other bit of the other part of don't believe whatever you read in the media is check out Twitter, or X as it's now called, and see the pylon on Mr. Romano. That's quite amusing as well.
Oh, yeah.
We get these all week from Steve Hasty to some absolute belters. The Spurs fan meltdown is absolutely brilliant this week. The Man United meltdowns are brilliant. Thanks to everybody, as I say, for coming on. Stu, Mitch, stay well. George, watch what you're doing, and everybody else.
Thanks everybody for their good wishes, Steve.
Good stuff. And Steve Hasty, see you tomorrow night. Take care.
Take you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, lad.
Thanks a lot.